Kiddushin Daf Yomi reward before the deed. האומר כאומר מעכשיו דמי. In the morning, there's a special quality to learning early in the morning when you start off the day with learning. There's a special quality to learning live, not just learning on one's own or learning digitally. There's an enormous amount of schus and a lot of positive energy in us sitting here in the Beis Medrash and learning each morning. And may that schus help to bring back the shvuyim alive and well. May it help to comfort those who've lost people and to protect the soldiers who are protecting us. Reward is something we use as a motivational tool, and we use it in order to express appreciation. Somebody does a good job of work and we reward them, whether it's through in a work situation, through a bonus, or with children you'll give them a reward, or whatever. We'll express our appreciation materially to people. And that's a motivation to people, not because they do it for the reward only, but also because in that reward there is a lot of motivation. But motivation doesn't always need to be after the deed. In fact, sometimes motivation is better before the deed. You see what people are doing and what they're sending the soldiers on the borders, and everybody's piling in and sending them, and they're sending it with such love. If you look at what's in those packages that people are sending, it's not just the necessities, it's the sweets, the cookies and the chocolates, and and children are involved, and everybody's involved, and the soldiers are saying just how motivating that is to know that people love them and care about them and are invested in them. We're not waiting for them to win the war and then send them the cookies and the chocolates. We're doing that up front, and we don't do that enough. When you're dealing with somebody of high ethic, you can reward them up front. Benjamin Zander is a professor of music and a conductor of an orchestra in Boston. Many of you might know his work. And when he walks into a class at the beginning of a course, he says to his students, "You've all got A's. You can relax. I don't even know you. Each one of you are going to have an A at the end of the year, I promise you. So you don't have to prove anything anymore. Now you can enjoy yourself. Now you can have a good time. You've got your A's." The idea of rewarding people up front, so much of what we do is for the reward that comes at the end, and for the reward that we're always working for something that's going to come later on. But there's also sometimes a need to be able to enjoy the reward up front, and then, as Benjamin Zander says to his students, then show me what you can do to deserve the A. And your reward is not the A. The reward is the fun and the pleasure and the growth and the challenge that you're going to have along the journey. That is in itself the reward, and we'll see Hashem works that way too. And we'll work it from a very technical halachic principle. We've taught very often how you cannot use philosophy and the ta'amei mitzvot in order to draw halachic conclusions. You can't paskin a halacha or create a halacha based on some kind of philosophic perspective, because as we learned some time ago in the Matmonim, when it comes to the ta'amei mitzvot, when it comes to meaning of a mitzvah, each person has to find their own meaning. And that's why the Torah doesn't tell us what the meaning is. Find your own meaning. What does it mean to you? But that's subjective, which is fine when you're dealing with taste, because taste is subjective. And ta'amei mitzvot, the reasons for the mitzvot, ta'am means taste. So it's okay for the reasons, for the philosophy of the mitzvahs to be somewhat subjective. That can't lead us to paskening halacha, to making halachic decisions that are subjective. We're dealing at the moment with a world that has lost its head because of moral subjectivity. Everybody's got a view. Everybody's got an opinion as to what is right and what is wrong. No. What is right and what is wrong, the Torah determines. What is right and what is wrong, you work out halachically. Once you know what is right and what is wrong, you can use that knowledge to develop a broader philosophic and conceptual framework in which to live. And here we'll see an example today of how we take a very technical halachic principle and use it to understand principles of life and to understand the posuk in the Torah, whereas the other way around we wouldn't do it. So the principle in our Gemara is a principle of Rav Huna in the name of Rebbe, which we see many times. It comes in Masechta Gittin. We had it in Daf Dalet, Daf Ches, back in Gittin, and that is Kol HaOmer Almanat Ka'omer Me'achshav Dami. When a person uses the word almanat in a tanai, so you can say to somebody, I'm doing this for you bitnai that. I'm giving you X on condition that you do Y. That's bitnai. But we can also use the word almanat, which means the same, but it's a little different. And our Mishnah is talking about such cases. Once again, our Mishnah on Daf Samach Hamad Aleph, as we discussed yesterday, is case studies, stories. Ha'omer le'isha. A man says to a woman, Hareyat mekudeshet li, you be my wife, Al manat she'eten lecha 200 zuz. I know you think I'm a poor guy and you might not want to marry me. I'm marrying you on condition I can prove to you that I will give you 200 zuz, in addition to the ring I'm giving you now. So Arayat Mekudeshitli, but I'm going to give you 200 zuz, and if I don't give you 200 zuz, no marriage. So are you okay now to marry me? That's what he says. But he uses the word almanat. Says Rabbi Rafun in the name of Rabbi, almanat doesn't mean the marriage will take effect when I give you the 200 zuz. Almanat means the marriage takes effect now, and I have to give you the 200 zuz. That's something I'm committed, I'm obligated to do, to give you the 200 zuz. But the marriage takes place from now. The Gemara goes into a detailed discussion around that, which we won't do at the moment. This has halachic ramifications, which the Rambam brings la'alocha and the Shulchan Aruch, paskins la'alocha in Even HaEzer Siman Lamed Ches, and that is that since almanat works differently, it's different from a t'nai. A t'nai is, I'm marrying you on condition that I will give you 200 zuz in the future. That means, and when I give you the 200 zuz, we'll be married. You can't back out of it then. Nothing can change. We're committed, but we're committed to an event in the future. That's a t'nai. And a t'nai is governed by all the four basic principles that govern a t'nai, to make the t'nai similar to the t'nai of the Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven. You remember we've had this before. We're introduced to the idea of t'nai because a t'nai is inherently contradictory to the action. Because what are you saying? I'm marrying you, and we know how important a word is. When a person says a word, that's it. It's real. And then you say, but on condition. What even gives you the right to introduce a condition afterwards? That's a chidush in the Torah. We learn that from Tanai Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, that we can do conditional things. We can make conditional arrangements with people. And the condition is what determines the moment of initiation. But not if you say almanat, and therefore if you say almanat, eino tzarich lichpol t'nao, v'lo lakdim t'nai l'maisa. You don't need all the conditions of t'nai b'nei Gad b'nei Reuven, because this isn't really a t'nai. You're saying it's from now. I'm marrying you now. I'm committing to do something in the future, but it's not dependent on my doing something in the future. As long as the condition is something that it's within my power to fulfill. Now, let's take this principle and skip to a completely different topic, which is Parshas Re'eh in the Chumash. Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha u'klala. I'm giving you today a blessing and a curse, says Moshe to the Bnei Israel. Et habracha asher tishmu el mitzvot Hashem Elokechem asher anochi mitzavetchem hayom. The bracha is that you will listen to the mitzvahs of Hashem. Va'klala im lo tishmu mitzvot Hashem Elokechem v'sartem min haderech. And the curse is, if you don't listen to the words of Hashem and you deviate from the way to follow false gods, then terrible things will happen. That's the klala. Says Rashi, et habracha al menat asher tishmu. So now that that's how Chumash starts sounding differently when you're a bit of a Talmud Chacham, when you know the Gemaras. So you've learned a Gemara in Gittin and in Kiddushin, Almanat, and all of a sudden it rings a bell. Now you look at the Rashi, Almanat Asher Tishmu. What is Rashi saying? Almanat Asher, of course, that's what it means. What is Rashi adding? Almanat. Rav Huna in the name of Rebbe. What did Rav Huna in the name of Rebbe say? Almanat means Me'akshav. Asks the Mizrahi. We haven't quoted the Mizrahi before in the Matmonim so far. The Mizrahi is the most foundational Perush on Rashi on Chumash, and he lived in Turkey in the 15th century. He was not only a great Talmud Chacham, he was an astronomer and a mathematician, but he wrote the work on Rashi that really started everything else. And he says, why doesn't Rashi say, why does he say Alma? Why does he say et habracha im tishmu? The bracha will be if you listen. What's almanat? Why is he using almanat? Because Rashi notices that there's a difference between the bracha and the klala. The bracha is asher tishmu, and the klala is im lo tishmu. The bracha is that you will listen, and the klala, the curse, is in the event that you will not listen. And Rashi's referencing that difference in tone. But the Mizrahi goes into a difficult explanation that doesn't really satisfy. There's a beautiful Sfas Emes, where the Sfas Emes says, "Pirush Rashi al manat asher tishmu efshar lomar kavanat Rashi, de Moshe Rabbeinu alav hashalom ba'ahavato liYisrael haya mishtokek mod." Moshe just wanted to be sure she'abrachot yachulu alehem miyad, that the brachas will be immediate, that they won't have to wait and prove themselves to get the A at the end of the year. Moshe Rabbeinu teaches the principle that Benjamin Zander used millennia later. Give the A up front. Give the bracha up front. ולזה אמר להם, אשר תשמעו, כאשר פירוש רש"י זה, על מנת אשר תשמעו. ובש"ס in Gittin and in Kiddushin, אמרינן כל האומר על מנת כאומר מעכשיו דמי. אם כן יחולו הברכות עליהם מיד. What Moshe is saying, this is not im. Im is the curse. If you don't follow Hashem, you don't listen to Hashem, then there will be punishment in the future. But Hashem will give you the bracha up front. Asher tishvu is almanat, and almanat is ke'me'achshav dami. The man says, I'm marrying you, almanat, that I'll give you 200 zuz sometime in the future, but the marriage is now. Almanat asher tishvu, the brachas almanat, the brachas come immediately, says the Sfas Emes. And that idea is taken further by the Hamek Dover, by the Malbim, by the Balaturim himself. The Hamek Dover says, the Medrash tells us that Hashem says you must put tzitzis on your garments. But where do you get garments from? So the fact that you've got a garment to put tzitzis on is a bracha from Hashem. Why is He giving you a garment? We spoke a few days ago in the Matmonim about the purpose of pleasure, the purpose of the life of life. Hashem gives us the things we need in order to live the Torah. To live tzitzis, you need a beged. To put a mezuzah on, you need a house. So we think, I've got a house. What do I have to do now? I must go and get mezuzah sometime. So I've got clothes, I need to go and do this. No. You were given the house so that you can put on mezuzahs. That's why you got a house. And everything that comes with a mezuzah, you were given a house for achnasas ochil. It's not, now we have a house. So we can start inviting people around. No. You were given a house so that you invite people around. That's why you were given the house. Now I can have a shiur in my house. I can have my chavrusa learning in my house. That's why you were given the house. Says the Hamek Dover, the Netziv, Im ken habracha hu kedei asher tishmuun. That's the almanat. The bracha comes first. It's along the same lines as the Sfas Emes points out based on our Gemara. Almanas means from now. I'll give it to you now. Because I want you to use what I give you for the right reasons. I'll give you the raw materials so that you can be mekayim the mitzvahs. It's a completely different approach to life, to the things we have around us. We've got to look at all the bracha we have, everything that we have, and not just say, thank God, I'm so fortunate, Hashem gave me bracha. And therefore, keep going. Hashem gave me bracha so that I will use this bracha to be mekadesh Shem Shemayim, to amplify Hashem's presence in the world. That's why He gave me bracha. We've got to take it to that next level, not just sit back and say, I'm so grateful, Hashem gave me bracha. And it's the same with Eretz Yisrael. That's why I said in the video clip that I put out, Hashem gave us Eretz Yisrael to do certain things with Eretz Yisrael, not a mess up. That's not why He gave us Eretz Yisrael. And we've got to use it. And He gave us a lot of bracha, and He gives it to us up front, long before we're even doing the things we're meant to be doing, so that we will do them. But if we're not using Eretz Yisrael for what we're meant to be using it, then Eretz Yisrael is at risk. And so with all the things we've got, if we're not using the bracha for what Hashem gave it to us, if Hashem cares about us, if He doesn't care about it makes no difference. But if He cares about us, then the very bracha becomes at risk because we're not fulfilling the almanat. I gave this to you. It's like the man says, I married you and I'll give you the 200 zuz. 1 month goes by, 2 months goes by, a year goes by, 2 years goes by. She says, what's with the 200 zuz? It's coming. No. Almanat means I'm going to do this. This is something important. This is part of the very act of getting married. The Malbim goes further and says, it's not that I'll give you the bracha so that you will listen to Hashem. The bracha is listening to Hashem. What greater bracha is there than the privilege of being able to live a life of Torah and mitzvot? What is there more than that? That is the bracha. Again, back to the Benjamin Zander example. It's not that you will get an A or that I'm giving you an A, so I'm giving you the bracha up front. You've got your A, that's the bracha. No, the bracha is going to be the music you play. That's the bracha. The fact that you're going to be sitting in my class and you're going to be working with all these wonderful musicians, creating the most beautiful music, that's the bracha. The bracha is that you're living a life of Torah. What greater bracha is that? The bracha is you're living in Eretz Yisrael. The bracha is you're living a Jewish life. You're able to start every morning with a piece of Gemara that opens your mind into some new understandings of not only of the Torah, but of the world. And what greater bracha is that? And from that you go and you put on your tefillin, and you say Kriya Shema, and you daven an Amida before the Ribbono Shel Olam. But what greater bracha is there than that? What do you have to go looking for? Where's the bracha? That is the bracha, says the Malbim. And that's Asher Tishmu, and it's right up front. The bracha is right up front. It's not an outcome. The bracha is the thing itself. So either you learn like the Sfas Emes and the Hamikdova that the bracha comes first so that you fulfill the mitzvah, or the Malbim goes further and says the bracha is that very thing, that the reward is in the thing itself. And the Baal HaTurim then says, don't forget, we always look, and as I often mention, when we look at the Baal HaTurim, we think of him as the Gematria man. And you forget the Baal HaTurim is the Tur. The Tur is the foundation of all the halacha we have. The foundation of the Shulchan Aruch, the Tur, the son of the Rosh. This is our link to the Rishonim. This is our link, the link between Psak Halacha today and the Gemara is the Tur. So when the Baal HaTurim comments, it's not a light thing. And he says, Biklala amar imlo tishmu v'vracha amar asher tishmu. They're all concerned about the same thing. V'lo amar im belashon safek v'amar asher belashon ashrei. Asher also comes from the word of ashrei. I'm giving this to you, asher tishmu'un, because ashrei, you're fortunate in the very act of listening to Hashem and keeping His mitzvahs. That's the ashrei, that's the best thing, that is the reward. It's along the lines of the Malbim. It follows the thinking of the Hamikdova, which follows the thinking of the Sfas Emes. It's the same, although the Baal HaTurim came before all of them, of course, but it's the same kind of thinking. This is the ashrei. I'm giving this to you up front because this is your happiness, this is your richness. And then he says, how does it all start? Hashem, does He just give us things unconditionally? What do we have to do to set it in motion? Says the Baal HaTurim so brilliantly, Et habracha asher tishma'u, look at sof tevot. Look at the last letters of each of these words and you'll find taf vav reish he. You'll find the words of Torah. And when the Baal HaTurim says sof tevot, that's always indicating it as an outcome. This is the end of the letter. So Torah leads to the outcome. Shebizchut HaTorah yavo habrachot. What kicks it all off? We have to start it all off. We started off with Torah. We started off with connecting ourselves to Torah. And we know the Bryce of Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoel, Torah mevi lidei zehirut, zehirut mevi lidei zrizut. Once you start learning, once you're into Torah, once your mind is in Torah, everything starts following. Your whole life becomes elevated. Everything you do operates at a different level. And so we kick the process off with Torah, and the result of that is that Rebbeinu Shem gives us bracha, and with the bracha we do the mitzvot. We live the kind of life that Hashem wants us to live. That's the sequence of events. Just a way of understanding one word in the Chumash, based on a halachic principle of Rebbe that Rav Huna teaches us, that kol haomer almanat or kaomer מעכשיו, whenever a person uses the word almanat rather than im means if, almanat means in order that. They're slightly different. I'm doing this if the following will happen in the future. Almanat is, I'm doing this in order that the following will happen in the future. This is enabling what will happen in the future. And Hashem gives us the bracha almanat in order that we are asher tishmun, we're able to live the kind of life He wants us to live.